Dear God, why did I even feel the need to describe my worst fear of all? You might be scratching your heads wondering what was my worst fear is. Well, calm your illusions. I was just getting to that. Anyways, one of the worst fears that I have involves the Wiggles. Now, I'm not addressing the human Wiggles, not even the octopus, the dinosaur, the dog, or the pirate. They are puppet versions of the Australian band. And let me tell you, every night they always tend to scare the living cream out of me in my dreams. Why? Their faces are just so creepingly horrifying. Everywhere I go, I see their faces. Even when I take trips to Australia, they appear out of nowhere and making me have heart attacks. Well, even on my 10th birthday at the orphanage, I even asked for a toy on the Wiggles, and what did they give me? You guessed it, the puppet versions of them. I didn't even come out of my room for the rest of the day. But it's a good thing that my good friend Diana Barry protects me from all the madness. Okay, in my opinion, but it's just sounding like a creepypasta describing my fears. Alrighty, now where was I? Right. The name Anne Shirley. The place I am from is from Green Gables. You might be asking if Green Gables is a real place. Well, the best information I could get from Google is that it's a 19th century farm and that literally landmark in Canada that is based on Anne Green Gables novels. Now, since Green Gables went through a fatal time machine progress, TV exists now. Anyways, I bet you know who the Wiggles are. Moving on. There's a lost episode of this so-called Australian show that talks about the puppets. Now, because of my fears, my newly adopted parents, who are Mr. and Mrs. Tweedley from Chicken Run, signed me up for a program about facing personal fears and phobias. The first day was, to me, a bummer. How exactly? Well, one time I asked for this long program that goes on for almost weekdays, and the teacher, who happened to be Bob and Larry, said it runs from 9 in the morning to around 3:45 in the afternoon. I spent all day trying to figure out something so I could have the day could end faster, and I eventually go to the end of the day, but I still had to sit into the warm sun so my bus could come. I still didn't even like the first day at all. But you know what? I hate this program. I have a bossy classmate whose name is Walter Matthews. Most days he kept on calling me carrots, all because I'm red-haired, and instead of smacking him on the head with the mini chalkboard like I did back in Green Gables, I tended to beat him up. However, because I was rather brutal man, I ended up getting sent to jail for a few weeks due to my actions. I was disappointed that they didn't just call my parents, nor did they give me a small punishment. The only reason why they put me in jail was because one man once dead, somehow alive and rather looked old. And so I spent my days in jail. Things were extremely disgusting, which I'll explain in the moment. You see, I ended up having to share a cell with two women, and their names were Molly Ringwald and Tiara. Molly Ringwald was arrested due to smoking weed in public, and as for Tiara, she had committed many acts of murder as her hobby of killing people. The two women were nice to me, as I was still 10 years old in jail. There was also this fat black man in the cell far away who keeps repeating, "I gotta get out of here. There's too many females in here," 24/7. Anyways, back to how jail was disgusting. The first thing we do is take our morning showers, and as I would pass the men's showers rooms, I could see Lil Nas X along with some other people singing and dancing Industrial Baby. The way they danced was disgusting. While I was showering, I saw that Tiara accidentally dropped the soap. I picked it up before any aggressive jail member saw. Next, we all ate breakfast, which was obviously a breakfast from a restaurant named IHOP. There was a whole variety of food. We had to choose whatever we picked to eat. Did you honestly think I'd spend a few weeks in jail? Wrong. The second day, Tiara told me that she and Molly Ringwald and I will be escaping jail so that we don't have to spend our entire life in it. Later on that evening, as the police squad station quieted down and the officers went to sleep, Tiara pulled out a weapon that goes by the name of Esmiel Dorsal. She then started to have heavy bangs on the wall to point out some bricks that fell off the building. It's a good thing I kept the original clothes in my bag. Anyways, the way we get home was sneaking into a boat. The boat smelled nice, as if it wasn't one of the boats from the carry garbage. While staring at the ocean with adorable fish and dolphins, a sea captain who came out of New Zealand, or the merry people they used to call it, Antoria, said, "Oi, what are you sea scallops doing out here in your jail back cell?" We told him that Tiara's idea was to escape, and then the sea captain said he'll force us to sing 6 months of Leaky Boat on the way home. I gave the sea captain a sulk face after he said that, but when I told him that if he doesn't back away from us, I would kick his nuts. He ran away, and me, Tiara, and Molly continued looking at the ocean. When we got back the next morning, I let the 2 other women go home when I went to a porta potty to change into my normal clothes. I was originally going to the public bathroom, but then someone would probably call the police as I escaped jail. I finished changing and decided to visit my old friend Dinah Barry. I arrived at the doorstep and hit the doorbell. Deanna opened it and gave me a hug as soon as she saw me. Diana asked me how jail was, and I said it was painfully eventful. I got to meet Diana's new parents, who were Sir Topham Hatt from Thomas and Friends and Gloria from Baddington. Then we had some dinner while having a discussion. I even told Diana's parents that if someone notices them out of jail too early, they would take me back. They believed me, and we continued eating. After dinner, Diana told me that we should go upstairs and watch a videotape she occurred. So we made our way to the bedroom, and Diana inserted the tape. Then she proceeded to tell me what the puppets from the Wiggles were on the tape. I got scared when I heard that, but I wanted to try and face my fears. The first thing that popped up was a tape that had the first few seconds of the shower scene from the 1996 movie Fly Away Home. However, before Amy laid a finger on that thingamajig where the soap was, a voice heard her said, "Don't touch the thing." Amy screamed when she heard it, and she turns out the voice came from the director and actor Wes Anderson. He then said, "Hi, I'm Wes Anderson. Do you happen to live on a farm and you'd rather focus on how curious the shower works? Well, for this girl, she was about to get soap in her eyes, and that's not safe, which is why you need waterproof notes." I was curious as to how this actually was seen on TV commercial. The way waterproof notes work is by placing it under where the water is nearby, and you can also label things for your next shower or bath. It then cuts to the intro of the Wiggles, and the intro was used for the series too. Near the end of the intro, the Wiggles are seen in the front yard holding a weapon that looked like Tiara used to bail her, me and Molly Wigwald, out of jail. They were chanting, "Hail God, hail Jesus, hail YouTube." Anyway, the episode starts out with Greg in the kitchen, making what looked like pizza. The pizza had condiments like cheese, ketchup, and Oreos. Ugh, that's disgusting. I never put that on my pizza. Besides, if you're going to just add ketchup and pizza, don't even put it in the oven. Use it as cold. I think it cools down the pizza that way. Just then, Murray walked into the kitchen and smelled Greg's cooking. "What you making, Greg, man?" Murray asked. "Pizza," Greg replied. Murray saw the condiments on the pizza and was rather confused. "Why is there ketchup on the pizza?" Murray asked once again. "To make tomato supreme," Greg replied. The next scene cuts to Anthony digging a hole in the garden. While he dug, his shovel began to bang what looked like a video case. The VHS had the puppets written on the cover. Meanwhile, Murray, Greg, and Jeff were watching an episode of SpongeBob on TV until Anthony came into the room and told the trio that he found a tape in the backyard. Anthony showed them the cover of the tape and asked if they could watch it. "As long as it's not a horror movie, that's fine by us," Jeff said. Then it cut to a song, which was Uncle Noah's Ark. However, there were a few changes to the song that ended. Moses, as seen as the Prince of Egypt, that came out and said, "We're secretly making a prequel to the Prince of Egypt where we meet Noah. Want to act in it? Your song could be perfect for the movie." The Wiggles agreed and transitioned back to the Wiggles house. "Can't believe this tape took 9 minutes to get it working. But now we get to see what this tape's about," Anthony said. "Maybe it's because it's been buried for so long," Greg replied on the screen. Then it began playing that music video that featured the Wiggles puppets. Puppet Greg then walked in saying, "Can you point your fingers and do the twist?" as part of the remix. Greg looked awfully confused as he was watching the video. "Is that me? I look weird," Greg said. Murray, Jeff, and Anthony would soon notice that their puppet versions, and Murray said, "Jesus, we look really uncanny." I was shocked by the fact that Murray took the Lord's name in vain. And about Dorothy the dinosaur? She's normal, but do you think this video has a death trap? Anthony asked. Greg paused the tape and rang up to see if Dorothy was okay. We transitioned to Dorothy's garden as the phone rang. Suddenly a midget that looked like it came from the 2012 comedy film appeared and grabbed the phone. First thing incident was on the phone was, "Ayu, what's up?" Now this is the discussion before Dorothy came along and went. Greg, "Dorothy, is that you? Have you been smoking?" The midget, "No, I ain't Dorothy. I am her butler. What do you want?" Greg, "Look, sir, I don't mean to put you in any trouble or anything, but is Dorothy here? We have a question for her." The midget, "Yeah, she's here. Hey, Dorothy, an Australian man's on the phone." Dorothy began walking up to the phone while some background music from Teletubbies began to play. She then picked up their phone and began talking to Greg. The conversation was about if Dorothy had placed in a trap by the puppet of the version of the Wiggles. Dorothy said that no and proceeded to tell Greg that she got a chance to be included in the music video, which was known as Wiggle Mix. Then we transitioned to the shipyard, where Captain Feathersword and Wags would normally be seen. And of course they were there in the episode. Captain Feathersword was trying to show Wags how to snap, but nothing came to plan. That's when the puppet version of Captain Feathersword came out of the blue and said, "Ahoy there, me hearties! I'm Captain Feathersword, the friendly puppet pirate." The way the pirate puppet came out kind of terrified me over, because I still had a fear of puppets, and I was still trying to get over my fears. Captain Feathersword was shocked and said, "Hey, that looks exactly like me, but my voice seems rather high-pitched." Then the puppet Feathersword said, "Well, duh, that's how some puppets on TV speak." Another song came on, and it was called "I Am a Dancer." I honestly did not have time to explain how the songs go in the episode, so I suggest you Google it. After the song, the next scene shows the Wiggles' house at night. Greg was in his bed, calmly sleeping, until he heard a knock somewhere in his room. "Murray, is that you?" Greg asked. No one gave him a response. Greg then got up to answer the door, and no one was there. He looked at the window, and what he saw scared him. The puppet version of Greg was at the window. He was holding up a sign that says, "Let him in." Greg opened the window, and the puppet Greg came in. "You're the puppet from the video that me and the others watched. What are you doing here?" Greg asked. The puppet version of Greg then said, "Don't be afraid. We are not here to kill you. We are here to join the band." Greg then said, "Who's we?" The puppet versions of Murray, Jeff, and Anthony jumped through the windows. "These are my homies," Pirate Greg said, or Puppet Greg said. Greg then told the puppets that they already had members of the same name and didn't need to spark up any confusion as to who's who. "I must be dreaming. I gotta pinch myself and get out of here." Greg pinched himself, but it turns out that those puppets were actually in his room. Now, Yellow Man, don't scream. You'll disturb the peace," the puppet Anthony told Greg. Suddenly, the real Anthony walked in and saw the puppets on the bed. "Geez, those puppets are real? They might be doing something with us," Anthony said. "We'll talk about this in the morning, folks," Puppet Greg said. The next song came up and it was titled Zardo Zap. To summarize, Zardo Zap is about a female human alien who comes to Earth and has everyone dance and sing along to the songs that she sings. Morning came in the next scene, and the Wiggles were having some sort of chocolate chip cookies and coffee for breakfast. The puppets proceed to tell the quadruplets how they were built by Anthony. As soon as they said that, Anthony got a confused look on his face. "What? So that means I invented you to make the tape? What am I looking at?" Puppet Greg then walked over to Anthony while still trying to make a sinister look and said, "Oh yeah, since the popularity of the Wiggles, we were born ready to perform." Just then, the puppet versions of Dorothy, Wags, Henry, and Captain Feathersword came into the room with the actual versions of the characters running in. "These things are monsters!" Murray shouted. Puppet Dorothy started to jump on Greg's shoulder. Greg yelled, Get your hands off my shoulder! He then threw the puppet version of the dinosaur to Puppet Jeff, and everybody in the room started beating the puppet up themselves. While the rest of the guys continued to beat up the puppets, Murray reached for the phone and dialed the police. As soon as he finished off this call, another song came up. The song was titled Walk, which the song's about the places you can walk to, like the pool, school, park, or any other place. The last scene then showed multiple police walking up to the Wiggles house. I actually managed to recognize most of the police. There were people like Grandpa Joe and Mercer, the coachman. They said to be the command of the door with the face that always wants to hear, which is please. The door opened as the coachman yelled, "You puppets are both under arrest for the assault and battery. You have no rights. Come with us to the police car." The puppets were arrested, and the Wiggles felt that they were in peace. That something involving a court session appeared. I looked at the audience and recognized some of the people that feel like they don't belong in the episode. There was Beto Mendez, Oro, Jenny and Oliver from Oliver and Company, and Peter Napald. The puppets were sent to 40,000 years of community service, and it goes to the credits, which played normally. Yeah, I know, right? The episode made me face my fears. I no longer have fears of those damn puppets. I mean, those puppets can be scary, but it's a good thing that we can all tell and face fears in a while. As soon as the credits ended, a knock was at the door. I looked out of the window and saw two police officers that actually happened to be from Mario Party commercial from the 1990s. I heard everything, and they asked their top hat and Gloria if they were to come here. They kept telling the officers no and that they left for some reason. I have now been spending 2 weeks at Diana's house, thanks to the police for looking after me. The advice is that you should always try and face your fears and never escape prison unless said otherwise. The end. Well, I mean, I haven't read Wiggles' Lost Episode Pasta in quite a long time, to be honest. So, I guess with that being the case and that being said, I think I'm going to sit here and, review this as best as I can. So, that was the Attack of the Wiggles, Puppet Wiggles, Wiggles Lost Episode Pasta, written by Ashley Armbruster. Yeah, this one was actually it was pretty silly. I'm not gonna lie, this one was actually pretty funny. I actually did see, I didn't see any narrations of this, but as soon as he showed this to me, I thought, you know what, I guess I might consider, reading this in the future, and I finally decided to get to it. So, with that being said, I actually did find this to be quite funny, and if you're wondering why my voice is acting up and squeaky, yeah, for some reason, the allergies up where I'm at, they really mess up with my voice a lot, so I kind of have to, take allergy meds for it. It's really a pain in the butt. I mean, being surrounded by forests, it's kind of a common thing, so, yeah. Especially if you're, isolated from certain cities, but anyways, getting back to topic, I honestly really think that this was a pretty good story. It was awesome, really well made, and it's definitely a pretty good concept for the story. I honestly found it to be really funny, I'm gonna admit the puppet versions of the Wiggles is actually pretty creepy. I've seen a couple pictures of the Wiggles as puppets. And yeah, they're pretty creepy, to be honest. If you guys like them, that's fine. I don't have any issue if you like them. So I can definitely say right now, it's actually maybe not a bad, thing, because, I'm actually expressing my own opinion. But like I said, though, I haven't watched the Wiggles in years. So, I'm kind of rewatching them now, especially the older ones, because I haven't watched them in so long. But, they're pretty good stories, so, they're pretty good. And I definitely gotta say, it's flat out amazing, well made in detail, and I definitely gotta say it's pretty good for what it is. Now, this story was honestly pretty funny, and I really have to say, Ashley Armbruster, thank you so much for letting me read this story. This story was flat out amazing. It was really fun. I had fun, watching this. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a pretty good story, and I'm not going to lie. There's definitely a lot of time and effort into it. And I recommend you guys, check this out if you haven't. So, I guess with that being the case and with that being said, yeah, I don't really have much to say now, but I definitely gotta say it's really amazing, well done, and I definitely gotta say it was pretty funny. So, yeah, anyways, with that being said, I'm gonna sit here and just say this right now that this is just my own opinion, and if you happen to disagree with me, that's perfectly fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions regards to these creepypastas or funny pastas, whatever you prefer to call it. And this is simply my own personal thoughts. I'm going to give this one a 10 out of 10. It's a pretty good funny pasta. It's pretty well made in detail. I mean, I really hope I can find more of these Wiggle stories because I'm really starting to enjoy them. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. So, I remember the last Wiggle story besides Anthony's diabetes and the Captain Featherstore's birthday adventure I, narrated not that long ago. I remember reading The Wiggles a Sip On, and I can't really remember who wrote it. I think Ashley Armbruster did, but I don't remember. Someone said that someone wrote that story. But if I could find it again, maybe I'll give it a re-narration. But like I said, I don't really know. But anyways, what did you guys think about this story? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Also, what we have done personally to help make this story a lot better. Now, leave me what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. If you're new to my channel, like, comment, subscribe. Ring the bell for notifications to when I upload. And as always, I'll be seeing you all in the next upload. Peace out and roll the outro because I'm out.